Do you think we should ban alcohol completely on flights? 0207 862 2222 is the number. Do give us a ring. One social media user documented his Jet2 flight to Ibiza last week, saying simply this: things got out of control.
Everyone's just going feral. Everyone. Like, I was sitting more to the front, like where he was. I've ended up moving to the back because my friend was back there. People were just drinking, doing all sorts, blah, blah. But what I just want to say was, it wasn't just him. There was a lot of things going on. Like, there was a fight on the plane. Someone got slapped. Someone was sick in the aisles. My friend had sick on his shoe. Like, it was just, there was a lot going on. There was a lot. People passing drinks over, people spilling it. Like, there was a lot going on. And turbulence as well.
Well, we also have video of the reported fight which took place. He said there was a fight, a punch-up, and this all happened once the flight had got in the air en route to Spain. This passenger was escorted off by Spanish authorities after landing, and there are reports the man attempting to start the fight had drunk an entire bottle of vodka bought in duty-free before being disruptive and antagonising his fellow passengers. Go Compare says 1 in 5 Brits have had flights disrupted by drunk passengers, and it's actually already illegal to be drunk on a plane. So should we take it one step further and simply ban booze on flights? Maybe you have had a flight disrupted or even diverted by someone drunk. And Jenny, I know, where were you going to Ibiza?
I came back from Ibiza on Saturday with Jet2, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Ibiza, I go a lot. You have to choose what time of day you go.
Yes.
You know, so if you go in the evening, a lot of people will be drinking so that the minute they get off the flight, they're straight out clubbing. Also, early morning, people are like coming right out of the club straight onto the flight to go back home. So you have to, I do normally do mid-afternoon.
So explain what it's like to be on that flight.
Well, to be honest with you, it's just luck of the draw. But I actually get anxious for and I overcompensate with all the staff on the crew, because I'm like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. I mean, what's going to happen today on this flight? Because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of the crew on these flights now are like bouncers. You know, you feel like when they're standing at the door as you're walking up the steps, you're thinking, you know, it's not just a case of you can't come in with those trainers. It's you can't come in if you're going to drink huge amounts of alcohol already, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning. And I don't really drink, you see. I don't get it. I don't get why you have to, you know, in a couple of hours you can't just last without having a drink, without being dehydrated and being off your face.
But people are going on holiday.
Yeah, but there's holidays and there's holidays.
Why should we let the small number of idiots spoil it for everyone?
Well, that's what
everyone else.
But they do spoil it. That's the problem.
They don't have to spoil it. Statistically, I don't believe there's that many. I mean, have you ever, besides? It's a rare occurrence.
Yes,
I have. I happened to be
too.
once on a flight to Zadar in Croatia, and I think there was a pop festival or something taking place, as you say, literally off the plane. So it was a nighttime flight. You're going to get there about 10, 11.
You've been on a plane. How often has it happened?
But
very rarely.
But that time, it was a really big deal. It was the plane. It was as if the plane was almost overrun.
We shouldn't let the idiots control what we're allowed to do.
What do you think, Hannah?
Well, I used to fly an enormous amount for my work, and I've seen it all on planes. There is actually also a sort of thing that happens with our endocrine systems on planes, which is we're all in a slight fight or flight state, even if we're not stressed flyers, and the oxygen is obviously different. So we're getting drunk more quickly. So even if you can take your booze, I think the biggest problem is what happens before people get on the plane. So when you're talking about, so it's not the plane, and if they're scanning, when we're buying duty free, they're monitoring how much we're buying off our boarding pass. Well, you should have that at the Wetherspoons franchise at the airport. Oh, so you've already had 7 pints, well, you don't need one on the flight.
You need a breathalyser before you get on.
But you're having like a fully cooked English breakfast with 2 pints of lager.
At 7 in the morning.
At 7 in the morning, so it should be controlled more.
Don't be so puritanical. People like to have a few drinks. They're not always going to be behaving badly. They might be having nice little sing-songs and all sorts of things. Not every drunk is a nuisance. I'm one of them.
Well, it depends who you're sitting next to, who you end up with. You know what it is more than anything as well, sort of in generally speaking then, because you're saying there's, you know, it doesn't happen that often where your whole flight's cancelled or whatever. But there's a lot of people now with it that they swear a lot, and I can't stand it. You know, with lots of family holidays and there's kids on the plane, and all of a sudden everybody's tongue loosens up a bit, and it's effing and you can feel it building.
I'm feeling very conscious of my
book title. And it's awful.
Okay,
and your book, they read out the title of your book.
But you know, the fight breaks out, someone's vomiting in the aisle, the poor cabin crew.
Nobody has any filter when it comes to filthy talk as well on some of these flights. And it is gross. course, and I, you know, my kids are older, but even with the little toddlers, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Let's go straight to the calls because Dennis is on the line in Portsmouth. Dennis, what do you think about this? Should drink be banned on flights altogether? Is it ridiculous that people behave like this? Dennis, we need to hear you speaking into the phone, my darling, or we can't hear you.
I'm not a drinker personally, and I haven't flown for very many years.
Right.
I don't think alcohol should be served on aircraft, no. The flight crew are not allowed to drink for a certain number of hours before a flight, and I presume the cabin crew aren't either. You're in a very confined and closed space. Some passengers sit in critical seats over the wing exits, you know. It's got safety. It's about safety, and I don't know why people can't go a few hours without having a drink.
Well, that's exactly what Jenny says. On the other hand, the whole idea is it's kind of a festive experience.
On holiday, they want to let the hair down and go a little wild. What's wrong with that?
Some of them go a big while, not a little while.
And it
That's
depends
the
on the
problem.
destinations as well. I spend a lot of time in Amsterdam, and those flights also get a little bit interesting, a bit like the Ibiza flights.
Absolutely.
So you can strike unlucky
You're not
with your
drunk, they're all
Amsterdam
stoned.
flights.
Sitting there eating ice cream all through the flight.
That flight that I was on to Sudan, really, I didn't know. I kept thinking, gosh, people are so off their heads on alcohol at this point, maybe drugs as well. I don't know what was going on. But I thought maybe, well, how do you know they're not going to stampede into the cockpit or something? How do you know they're not going to try and open the door and jump out?
I don't know. Stampeded into the cockpit.
It just seems so extreme, though. And this thing that Dennis just said about the confined space, you know, you're all stuck there. You can't escape it.
It's almost like a respect for other people just for a couple of hours, you know. It's a bit like, you know, sitting on a minibus and everyone's really inebriated apart from you and you're sitting amidst it all. It's a tricky one,
Get
isn't
real,
it?
toughen up.
Well, you say that. I tell you what, why don't you come to Ibiza with me?
We'll
get on that
Started
10 p.m. flight and we'll see what you think after that.
Okay,
You
then
do.
fine, go on.
Okay, calm down.
Need a
But on
drink.
the other hand, you've got, you know, your posh flights. I've been on a couple of those where the one where they've got stairs, you know, on the plane,
Yes.
and then the bar for the posh people.
Yes, it's like
and you
being in
see
a
them.
club.
You kind of look in, and it's another world. You know, kind of looking, just craning your head as you nip to the loo to see what they're doing, and they're just having a delightful pina colada
nice
or
cocktails,
something.
little
Yes,
brollies and whatever.
brollies and
Yeah.
a small
But they're still
paper parrot.
drinking.
Just brought it up. It's a class element to this whole debate.
There is, isn't there?
What we're saying is all those proletarian people there with their vulgar drinking ways.
Well,
no drinks for them, but the poshies
Well,
upstairs,
can I just
they
say,
can have
the
one.
worst experience I ever had of somebody very, very drunk and disorderly on a flight, I'm not going to say who it is, but
Oh, go on, who was it?
a very, very famous ex-footballer.
Oh, you've got to say
and
that.
and it was in first class on a certain airline when I was travelling back and forth in the front of planes, not the back of mega
I can't even
buses.
say which
now.
airline.
I can say which airline. Yeah, no, I can say I can say the airline. Yes,
airline?
yeah, no, it's Virgin Airline, but I'm not
Right.
going to say the person. Yes, so
Well, who was the person then?
But
Who
he
was
was
it? Give us a clue.
He was absolutely and they had
Mime it.
They landed the plane in a different place because it was the way he was behaving was actually intimidating and dangerous to
So how
people
much
on the
does it
flight.
cost then to
So
land
that
plane?
exactly. So
About
that was
£80,
the
something like
front of the plane
Right,
and lots of
yeah.
glitzy, glamorous, the rich people, and that's where I saw the worst ever bit of that
There you
behaviour.
are. No class warfare.
It's not
here.
classist.
No class warfare. Let's go to Lynn in Cardiff. Lynn, do you think they should ban drinking on planes, or would that just make it horribly boring?
Absolutely not. I go on holiday. Oh, sorry.
Go on, talk. So you have a drink when you arrive at the airport. That's when you start drinking at the airport.
Listen, 5 o'clock in the morning, Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse. I'm on the Cosmopolitans. I don't care. I'm going to enjoy my holiday. However, I don't make it bad for other people. And what I think they should do is stop people getting on board if they look like they're drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm just celebrating going on holiday. I never normally drink at 5 a.m., but you're going on holiday. However, I have been on some of these, I can't mention the flights, can I? The orange flights and the yellow and blue flights, where they're all going on their, hen nights, hen weeks and stag weeks. It should be stopped, and language isn't allowed on board. Treat the crew with respect. Have a little tipple. Enjoy it. You're on holiday. You work the rest of the year.
I think
However-
it's all about having a little tipple
Hooray, Lynn.
then. A little
I'm
tipple's
retired.
fine. But
I'm retired. I don't care anymore.
I quite fancy going on holiday with Lynn.
Yeah,
You
Lynn's
two can go to
fun.
Ibiza, but Lynn's the one,
Yes.
5 in the morning, cosmopolitan.
She's on it, Lynn.
She's living her best life. She really is. I suppose the question is, can you hold your liquor? This is one of the things.
Well, that is one of the things. And you do hold it less well in the air. That's the thing. So you do. And it is also, when is someone coming to your seat saying, have another drink, have another drink? It's hard to find such places. Is it hard to find such places?
So the airplane are partly responsible for this, for feeding people more and
well,
more
they
drink.
are giving people loads of drink.
Yeah.
But also sort of in the airport lounges as well. That's where the problem
that's
starts
where-
because the
Or even
booze is
before.
available all the time. That's where I do think it's weird. I mean, why not just have pub hours or something where, you know, when you
Because
do
it's
get
holiday.
there at 6
It's
a.m.
your
in the morning
holidays where you
at
do
the
things
airport.
differently.
I'm
Yeah,
wondering
but
whether-
differently
You break a
where
few rules.
you
I
might
wonder
ruin
whether
it
there
for
should be a
everyone
sort of
else.
on-flight warning. You know, this is a flight full of young students drinking or old
Yeah.
people drinking, or Lynn's
Don't
got
go
up
to
at
Ibiza
5 in the morning,
flights.
she's drinking.
What
I
do you
don't know.
expect if you get a flight to Ibiza? What do you think is going to be on your fellow passengers are going to be up to? They're not going up there to study and have a monastic
Yeah,
life.
was
it's
gonna
not
do a
one
bit
about
of
Iron
yoga.
Apple. It's not the only place.
Yeah.